Hello and welcome to the Barn of Splanification. Got a subject today. I'm Tyler, I'm your host, but I've got a subject today that let's just all say it together and get it over with. Ooh, it's a subject we generally don't like to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. And I'll tell you up front, it has to do with two health concerns that can be very, very serious if not treated quickly and correctly with resource that's available now but may not be in difficult times. And that's diarrhea and constipation. Yeah, I know. We don't talk about those things. You better. When I was a little boy, my grandmother came to live with us after my grandpa died. I took my very first steps on their farm in North Dakota. And whenever I felt ill of or any kind of sickness at all, the very first thing, my grandma would get very serious and she would ask me, "Are you constipated?" That was her first question. And I got to confess, when I was a little kid, I didn't even know what that meant. But I figured if I was, I would know about it, and I didn't know about it, so I must not be. So I'd say no. and But that was the very first question my grandma always asked. Why is that? And I learned later on, because it kills. And diarrhea kills also. I was a hospice chaplain for a number of years. Every morning, our team would get together and we would discuss every patient on our team. All of the nurses, doctors, social workers, and chaplains. All of us work together and we discuss every patient and what's going on in their life and get input, circumspect input on our patients' health and well-being, including their families and everything about them. It was very comprehensive care. And one of the things that got everyone's attention that, it drew seriousness is dealing with a patient that had either diarrhea or constipation. We called them the Sisters of Death because in many cases, and oftentimes, those were one of the contributing factors to the patient's demise. They can kill, and they do kill. Unfortunately, constipation seems to be a major side effect of, and I'll give you, most medications that we take. Not some, but almost most. And the others, through very strong things like antibiotics, can cause diarrhea. And, why is it that the drugs that help us tend to hurt us as well? The side effects aren't good. Your digestive tract begins before you take your first bite. When you just smell the food and you're hungry, the saliva starts running in your mouth. That's a digestive juice, if you will. And when you put that food in your mouth and begin chewing it up, you're mixing that saliva with the food. And it's not just meant to wet the food down. It starts digesting the food. It turns starches into sugar. If you take a piece of bread that's not, by itself sweet, put it on your tongue and just let it sit there. It'll become saturated with saliva, and after just a little bit, it'll start being sweet because it'll start. We did this in school as in training of the digestive system. They had us do that, and it was amazing. It actually started turning sweet, and that was the conversion of the starches into sugar that begins when you're chewing up your food. So you swallow it down, it goes to your stomach. That's where all the acids are. That breaks down the proteins and breaks down the food and actually turns what came into the stomach as a semi-solid. It leaves the stomach pretty much a slurry. It's pretty loose and broken down when it goes into the small intestines. And all of these digestive acids and enzymes start happening in the stomach. It goes into your small intestine, 22 feet long. And there, your pancreas and your liver start adding biles that are adjusted per what it senses the food is, and it begins working on the nutrition in your food and making it into a liquid that can be absorbed. In the first part of the small intestine is where a lot of that stuff is added. In the middle part is where it starts to begin actually extracting the nutrition out of your food. And it goes through this smaller tube, 22 feet long, keeps going, and towards the end of the small intestine, it begins to extract not just all of the nutrition and vitamins and minerals and all that good stuff, but it actually starts now pulling out some of the liquid, some of the water that is in your food, so your body can reuse that. And when it gets to the large intestine is where that goes into sort of the last of the nutrition, but more importantly in the large intestine is where the reclaiming of the water happens the most. And I'm including the large intestine and the colon as the place where moisture is taken back out. In the International Space Station, they cannot run a pipeline of water up to these guys. Normal human operation requires about a gallon of water a day for your drinking, and as much as 3 to 5 gallons a day to take care of washing the dishes, washing your clothes, washing your body, drinking, everything all together. Now in the space station, they've optimized that a lot. They actually don't ever launder their clothes. They throw them away. They send them back on a cargo mission, and they put on new clothes. It's cheaper to do that than it is to have a washing machine. They just don't have the space for it. So a lot of that kind of stuff happens, and they don't take showers like we normally think. It's very efficiently run, so they need a lot less water. But even at a lot less water, they can't consume. If there's, let's say, 7 astronauts up there, they're going to be consuming 7 gallons of water a day. And they cannot just keep shipping 7 gallons of water every day for the crew. That's just something they can't do. So what they have is a water extraction system that all of the humidity that comes off through breathing is condensed out of the air back into water. All of everything that comes out of their bodies in the bathroom gets processed, and through reverse osmosis and other forms of extraction, they remove every bit of moisture and water from that. And it is through reverse osmosis, it is purified and safe and returned to drink. And you'd say, oh, that's awful. Well, do you think that God made new water, even any, since, let's go back and say, the flood, or since he created the earth? No. Our water, all of the water, including terribly stinky water, goes through a process of recycling, and it comes back to us as fresh, clean, wonderfully pure water. You know, I wonder how many times and how many animals and how many people have consumed those same molecules of water in the past. You know, they didn't just go around once. You know, water can be recycled, and in your body, it does it too. And it reclaims that moisture. Now that brings us to where the problem is. Diarrhea is where not enough moisture was taken out of the stools, the end product, before your body eliminated it. And basically, it's like bleeding to death, only from moisture. And the result is dehydration. Dehydration kills more people than you even know. If you start with dehydration, advanced dehydration, your organs stop working, and death comes shortly after that. Constipation is the other side, where your body is taking too much moisture out. Maybe you're not drinking enough water, and your body says, I need more moisture, more hydration in my body, and so it extracts more than it should out of the stools, and you end up having very hard stools. And sometimes it's just a matter of being very uncomfortable, but other times that can lead to a very dangerous condition called impaction. And if your body does not eliminate in a timely manner and you don't have enough hydration, this ends up plugging up the works seriously, and the result of that is death. You're not going to make it. So these are two things that really we do need to talk about, because honestly, it can kill you. And it can kill you quickly. And it can come on. It's not an isolated thing. It can come on very suddenly, and within a matter of days, you can be dead. Now, what causes it? We've covered a lot of things. It can be a bacteria can cause either one. A sudden change in your diet, which would coincide to a societal collapse or sudden shortages, or perhaps wide-scale power outages, things like that. Your freezer went bad, and now you've got to eat up all of that meat that you had stored. You can't get fresh vegetables, what have you. Sudden change to your diet can cause one of these sisters of death to come visit you. The other one is work and hydration. You've got a lot of work to do, but you got to conserve water because, that's one of the shortages. Well, that's a fast way to dehydration, which can kill you. And so you get dehydrated, you're going to get constipated, you're going to get impacted, you're going to die. It's not a guarantee, but it happens, and it does kill people. What can you do? Okay, well, you can include two things that are very available and not expensive, and you can get them today at Walmart or any other drugstore. You can probably buy them in your grocery store. And that is a bottle of some kind of vegetable or natural laxative, and the other one is an anti-diarrhea pill. Get the generic; they work fine. There's no extra bang for your buck to buy the label brand. The generics are just perfect; they work. And we always keep those two things in our medicine chest at all times, because it always seems that you need them in the dark of night. Why is that? It's not fair. But not having them can escalate that problem that could be easily treated with over-the-counter medications, can escalate it to a life-threatening situation. And if you can't get to the doctors because everybody's shut down because of the power outages, or if the hospitals are full because there's something else going on, or for one reason or another, things are shut down, and you can't get those two very simple medicines, it can cost a life. And so it is worth talking about. And we'll go ahead and say, ew, ick, I don't like talking about. Fine, it's okay not to like it. But it's not very smart not to do something about it and to prepare. I keep in our first aid kit, which is it's growing every time we turn around. I keep having to look for larger and larger cases for it. I keep some of these foil-wrapped bags of senna tea. Senna is an herb that you can make a tea out of it, and I'll guarantee you it's a high-octane tea because it'll get you going. And it will take care of, it'll clean you out. It's pretty much a system cleansing tea. It tastes pretty good too, which is rather deceptive. And I've got it clearly marked what it is and what it's for, lest anyone think, oh boy, I'm going to have a cup of herbal tea. It's not what that's for. But as a tea, it works. You can get capsules, you can get pills. of senna, and that's a very good short-term laxative. It works. And all kinds of different ones. But you need something in there to handle both sides of this equation. As far as the anti-diarrhea pills, usually they say if it's pretty strong, you take an adult dose is to take 2 of these little bitty tiny pills, and then every time you have an episode, you take 1 more. I've never taken the second dose. These things work fast and they work powerful and they stop the problem, and you don't have to worry about being icky. Now here's the other side. Look out for your children. Be careful of the little ones. Be like my grandma. Only don't just ask the question, tell them what it means. Explain to them what constipation is and what diarrhea is, and so that when you ask them, they can answer you truthfully. Secondly, look out for loved ones. If they're going to the bathroom a whole lot and very common, it could be either one of these. Maybe they've got a diarrhea issue going on, and you need to ask them. And if they've got a constipation issue going on, you need to ask them, and they need to tell you, because you need to be able to take care of it, because it will escalate quickly and it will remove loved ones, and we don't want that to happen. So I hope this has been helpful. I don't hope that it's entertaining. That's not my purpose. This is just something we seriously need to address, and I hope it helps out. God bless you all, and we'll see you next time.